Your goal as a 3D animator will almost always be to create something that looks as realistic as possible. Today's audiences have come to expect an almost realistic quality in order to believe in what they see. They no longer appreciate something simply because it was created on the computer. Oh, those days are long gone. In today's market of feature films, TV commercials, and video games, audiences have gotten very finicky. They want only the best in both computer-generated realism and believability. And in order to create the highest level of authenticity in your work, the kind of stuff that turns heads, you need to do a couple things. First, you need to know your software of choice inside and out. You never want it to be the software or your ability to use the software to be what holds you back. The second thing you got to do is to always do your best to find whatever you can as far as reference material. Something you can copy, something you can replicate. When modeling, adding materials, lighting a scene, making things move, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're attempting to recreate, you almost always will do a better job, a more realistic job, if you have a reference to compare to. And don't in any way ever think that using a reference as a point of comparison is cheating. What it's doing is working smart. I mean, think about it. Don't artists paint from what they see? Don't musicians many times play from what they hear? You as an animator are no different. You study what you can get your hands on, you then recreate what you've learned from that. So if you're attempting to model something, find a real-world object that looks just like what you're trying to make, or at least a picture of that object. If you're applying a skin to a surface in a scene that might look, let's say, like old rusty metal, get your camera and take a picture of something that you can find that has a similar type surface. Just look around. Trust me, it's not hard to find things that are worn out or beaten up. If you're trying to light a scene a certain way, study how the light in your world looks at certain times during the day. Or maybe pull out an architectural magazine, which are always filled with great examples. If you can light a computer scene as well as your world looks, or as well as a photograph looks, let me tell you, you're doing real good. And in that, your audience will appreciate your efforts. And when getting down to animate, again, the world's your best reference. A television and hard drive, a DVR in other words, can be indispensable in giving you the opportunity to grab whatever footage might come in handy. Sporting events, nature shows, these days they're a dime a dozen and can all be used as an opportunity to give you the best chance possible of bringing realism to your work. So get those references, real-world objects, photographs, sketches, videotape, even your friends if they'll act things out. It doesn't matter what you can get your hands on, it's all good, and indispensable when wanting to create the most believable CG work possible. If you have a character, for an example, running across your scene, grab a video camera and shoot someone running across the playground or sports field. I mean, that'd be a perfect reference to work off of. If you have a character smiling or pouting, for an example, how about using you as a reference? Grab a mirror and put a little of you into that character. I mean, you're certainly capable of making those facial expressions, right? And even if the reference you use isn't perfect, it's still going to be a much better guide than using nothing at all. So grab what you can get your hands on and get what you can out of it. You'll always do a better job using a reference to complete your work. Work smarter, not harder.